Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management? Hey, today we're talking about something that hits home for a lot of families, student loans, and what happens when parents want to step in to help. There are financial, emotional, and even some tax implications to think through. So let's bring in Deanne Phillips, Managing Director of Client and Community Engagement at Annex, to talk about some of the smart ways families can approach this. Hi, Deanne.
Hello, Joe.
Hey, we hear from families at Annex who want to help their kids pay off student loans because you don't want that hanging over your head for an extended period of time, but they don't need to have it be. Maybe just the higher interest ones they want to pay off first. What is a good first step for parents who are thinking about doing that for their kids?
First off, it's a really neat thing because that shows that's what they value. Sometimes they want their kids to have skin in the game and to take out loans themselves, right? And sometimes they say, we're going to cover this, but we need to make sure that you're doing the work and that we want to focus on that. And sometimes it's hey, kiddo, get a part-time job, get out there. We'll help you apply for the loans. We'll help you figure out what you can afford and all that. All of those are good conversations. There's no right or wrong with this. But the first step really is to get a clear picture of exactly what type of loans you're talking about. And there are two main kinds. And we have to remember federal and private loans work very differently, and it affects the prepayment strategy. So first thing, you need to understand a subsidized federal loan does not accrue interest while the student is in school at least half time. And those payments don't start until after graduation. Those can be lower priority targets for payoff because there's a little bit of a break there. Unsubsidized federal loans and most private loans, that would be like your Parent Plus loans that are pretty popular, those begin accruing interest right away, even while the student is still in school. Families often choose to tackle those first because that interest adds up. So once you've listed all the loans, interest rates, balances, a financial planner can help prioritize that payoff strategy. And, it's important to confirm payoff numbers directly with the loan servicer as well.
Sometimes these loan services, they can be kind of confusing to work with too. Even just getting a payoff number can be tough. What can borrowers do if they're struggling to get accurate information?
You're right, Joe. It can be very frustrating. So whenever you're dealing with a servicer, keep a written record of every communication. You want the dates, the names of the representatives you spoke with, what was discussed. AI recording makes it a little bit easier these days.
Yes.
People write, but that documentation can actually help protect you if something gets miscommunicated. It's also smart to cross-check federal loan information on the official Department of Education website. And if you still can't get answers, you can escalate your request or submit it in writing. That extra documentation often helps to speed things up. But this is where we at Annex, when we have people that come in and they say, hey, we're helping these kiddos with the student loans. We want to see that documentation and we can help prioritize payoff.
Is this something that you plan for leading up to when your kids go into school, or can you plan while they're doing it? Are we allocating a certain amount of money to do this eventually?
So this is a really great question. It really has to do with planning because I have had people walk into the Annex offices and I'm sitting with them for the first time and they've got a really nice kitty saved for retirement. And guess what? Oh, retirement's now. And guess what? They've got all these plus loans that they are in charge of paying off, according to them, and they want to. That's their family value. But now we're dealing with potentially how do we take IRA distributions, which can be taxable, to pay off the higher interest student loans. You see where I'm going with that. Mm-hmm. When you use an IRA distribution for, say, $1,000, well, it's $1,000 plus the tax you pay. That $1,000 can become $1,200. So you have to really be thoughtful on the timing of what funds you're going to pull. Now, I like to say, Joe, that the communication behind all of this is a family communication. It really should start as soon as that child knows, or that child is going to be in college, communicating the expectations from a payment point of view. I sat with my child and I said, I'm going to do what I can for you, but I have expectations that you're going to keep your grades up and expectations that we're going to work together to choose a school that you get into. And Maybe there's a limit to what you want to help your child with, and beyond that, there is an expectation that they're going to work and they're going to have some loans to pay off.
Put something in writing and have the kids sign it too.
Absolutely. Open communication about who's responsible for which loans, whether it's temporary or ongoing help from the parents, whether it's a gift, a loan, or a shared responsibility. What happens if the student's finances change for better or for worse? They're working, then they lose their job. Does the parent re-step in? And what financial habits or responsibilities the student is still expected to maintain throughout the process? I think these are all really great discussion points.
Who's responsible for it as things change? And you talked about the gifts. What about the gift limits? If someone wants to help this year, are there rules or limits that they should be aware of?
Well, okay, so there are a couple things around that. First off, anyone can pay tuition directly, and it's not a part of that $19,000 gift. So you can gift anybody. You, Joe, could give me $19,000.
You are very nice, Deanne.
I know. But the point is, you could do it and you don't have to report it. This is where, and sometimes I always say, we hire a money manager to protect us from ourselves and to kind of help us organize our finances in our own self-interest. So that's where we partner with our clients to help them figure out what's smart debt and what's debt that should be handled more quickly.
Kind of avoid the emotional problems, too, down the road when you do want to pay off that debt.
You bet.
Yeah. Thank you, Deanne.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Deanne Phillips, Managing Director of Client and Community Engagement. Go to annexwealth.com.